So hello and welcome to the New Gig podcast. I'm your host, Glen Hodgson. And today I'm delighted to be joined by the CEO of Hänga, Vorian Maryssael. How are you doing, Vorian?
Very good, thank you. Delighted to be here. Excited about this moment.
Great to have you here. And well, let's just start things off by you telling the viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself, your background, and Hänga. How did you come about the idea and what's coming up this year?
All right. Well, I want to start with Hänga rather than about me.
Okay.
So Hänga is a social community. So it's, of course, a platform, a digital platform where people can meet. But the idea is that people are going to meet in real life. So they're going to put up events there, things that they want to do, share their passions, and then invite up people, members of Hänga, to join them in these experiences. And we are actually going live first week of February. So we've been in development for quite some time and getting this idea out. And now it's coming out, so people can start to use Hänga, put their events out there, and meet new people. And the reason why I came up with this idea, why I started it, it's because, well, I am of double nationality. I'm living in Norway today, but I'm actually Swedish-Mexican. Right. I traveled the world, I lived in the world, I worked all over the place. I move very often. So I'm always starting up a new network of people to meet, like new friends, new colleagues, new everything.
Yeah.
And so I always I love hosting and I love meeting new people. And I really like this, not having to belong to a group or a specific group. I like to try different things. And so I'm not a dedicated stamp collector, for example, where you would be part of a group as such. I want to try a lot of new things.
Yes.
So that is why Hänga is there, because you can try a lot of things without having to belong to an interest group. Yeah. And so that's why I started the idea of Hänga and started to build it.
Makes a lot of sense, I think, and an exciting sort of marriage of the online and offline worlds. And I think it's a great sort of area to go into to look at how digitalization is changing the way we meet, the way we interact, but also work as well. But to sort of use digitalization as a way to actually bring people together, as opposed to being sort of sat with your own devices in your own little world. It's the opposite effect with what you're doing with Hänga.
Yeah, so we are really pushing people here to meet in real life. That is the purpose. And so at the moment, at least, we don't have any digital meeting, virtual meetings, only in real life. Yeah. And I think that would be much more relevant also when people start to work from home more, yeah. And maybe not meet so many people socially at work, or you meet sometimes. So we have a tradition that a lot of people meet their husband or their wife at work or at conferences. And yes. When this part is now much more digital, we might want to use our time to be social more instead of coming home to the family. We've been with the family, we're meeting them while we are working almost. Yeah. Then we want to go out and do something more. So Hänga is going to be there so that you can be inspired and meeting people and just having like small connections. You don't need to be best friends with whoever you meet in a Hänga event. You just meet and socialize for a while, and then you go home and continue life. And I think that is going to be very important in the future when we are more at home.
Yeah,
I can feel that.
And I think your timing is very good as well, Marianne, because of the fact that, cross our fingers, we may be soon coming out of the pandemic. And I think there's this real mood change that people just want to have physical connections again. They've been sort of so locked down for the last couple of years that there is this legitimate human need that Hänga, I think, is satisfying in terms of the opportunities.
Absolutely, I think so too. And what is really nice about it is that it is driven by others like ourselves that want to
Okay.
share their passions. So it's also intimate, but big enough not to be awkward, like 10, 12 people.
Yeah.
Kind of. I think that that is where it's going to end. I don't know. Our users might do whatever they want with Hänga, but what I think and what we have been looking at is that people are going to have events for maybe 10, 20 people. So intimate enough to get to know others and have a nice chat, but also not so small that it becomes awkward, like, oh, when you don't know people and you're only a few and you have to maintain a conversation, that can be difficult. So I think
Exactly.
that size is a nice one.
Yeah. And in terms of these events, what are the kind of things that you envisage, or is this real community led in terms of the type of activities? It really just depends on the passion of the individuals and what they want to share and what they want to show the group.
Absolutely, that is what it is. It's really driven by people, but I hope that, well, I hope we will see a lot of food and drinks and so on, and some of the
Yeah.
sports, and it's going to change with the trend of the season as well. So maybe paddleboarding and things
Mm.
like that in the summer, and outdoor activities, and others in winter.
Yeah.
But I also hope that there are going to be events like really niche things that
Yes.
you would never think about doing or learning about, that you suddenly get inspired to go into something really nerdy, and you
Yeah.
can visit that part for a
Yeah.
day and get to know something very, very different. That would be, I hope that that is also going to come, and not just the mainstream things.
And tell us about where Hänga and the community opportunities are available, Marianne.
So they are going to be available. We are starting in Stockholm and in Stavanger. So we are kind of starting in small little places, but we hope it's going to grow organically
Yeah.
from there. But Stockholm and Stavanger, because I'm located in Stavanger, so I can kickstart
Yes.
events. Yeah.
Excellent.
Here.
Wow. So
Yeah.
there's lots going on, and 2022 is going to be the
The
year
year for us.
to make things happen. And of course, we will provide the link so that people who are interested can actually get involved, find out more about this, and understand what's happening and what's going on at the moment. And are we sort of ready for this as well? Just thinking about sort of the society and the way things are going at the moment, Marianne. What should we be looking for this year? Is it this kind of getting back to personal events, physical contact again, or do you think that there will be a reticence of some people actually sort of meeting in groups in public spaces again after the kind of indoctrination of the past of the past 2 years?
Yeah, you never know. I think it will come, but maybe it will come a little bit slowly in the beginning, because we are
Right.
not used to meeting each other anymore. But I think a lot of people, as we see also in the workplaces, are rethinking their lives. What is important to me? What do I want to do? What do
Yeah.
I want to work with? But what kind
Mm.
of interests do I have?
Yeah.
And I think that maybe Hänga can provide some inspiration to that as well, because it's going to be like a smorgasbord of things to do. And then you can try different things and see what are to your liking.
Yeah.
And I also think a lot of people have passions to share with others.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, of course, Hänga is going to be an opportunity to make some extra money as a sidekick if you
Of
want
course.
to make money out of what you are doing, like
Yeah.
teaching or taking for a guided tour or things like that. So it is also going to be part of this gig economy in that sense, even if it's in a small scale.
And I think this element of bringing together kind of work or payment for sharing your passion is something that I think is really a big part of the sharing, the platform economy, where people can make extra money and be able to share their thoughts and ideas, and everyone benefits from it as well. I think this is really in the spirit of what's actually happening at the moment, and how electronic channels can be used for good to bring people together.
Absolutely. And I also think that there are a lot of people that they're thinking about going on their own, starting with their own passion, like a chef or catering or things like that, people that want, and here they can try it out with through Hänga without building their whole company. So they can just try out having it as a sidekick for a moment, and then through Hänga and through events, and then if they go well, they can start a whole company behind it if they want. So it's a very good place to try out new things as well as an individual, not just as a goer, but as a host of these events.
So the opportunity to sort of soft launch a few ideas, see what the reception is, surely is a good idea as well. And I think that, would you say in the world of work at the moment, people are more testing this kind of thing? The whole idea of a 9-to-5 job and selling your time 5 days a week to one employer is kind of a little bit old-fashioned. People sort of want to be able to do several things, look at several revenue streams, but also do what they enjoy, share what they enjoy, and get much more fulfillment out of this.
Yeah, I think there will be quite a lot of people that like to stay with the old way of doing things, because it gives a certain feeling of safety and security. However, there are a lot of people that want to do it differently. And maybe with time, as people will move over, especially when they see that it's not so scary as it can seem in the beginning. So having this opportunity to try different things, and the more opportunities there are to have this freedom, the different ways it can be done, I think people will start to move over to a more flexible life. And there is a lot of talk about this life-work balance, and I never liked that wording, life-work balance, because I think that, if you're passionate about your job, and if your job is something that gives you something, it's part of your life. So, so life and work, my life is work. Also, I don't stop living when I'm working.
Definitely
but
not.
I think that, so, but I think that it's more about freedom, is that to have the freedom to work whenever I want during the 24 hours that I have to work, or be with my family, or do other things. So that freedom and flexibility is very important, I think, of letting go of work. But work is life for me. And I think a lot of people, when they are inspired by their work, when they have a job that is creative, that gives them the freedom, then that will become their lives as well, instead of going like a machine to work and just doing what you have to do. Then you stop living.
I think it is a shift, because there's so many people. We look at sort of the studies, and we just sort of our evidence of speaking to our friends, neighbors, family, the number of people who actually hate what they do, and they sort of almost physically suffer that they have to sort of either go into an office or sit behind a computer or do a job. And that shouldn't be the way it is. I firmly believe the same as you, that when you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. And also the fact that agree with you on the element of this sort of work-life balance, that in itself, this term means that by doing one thing, you lose out on the other. So by working, you lose out on your life, or if you do too much life, you can't work. And I think this is a bit of an old, outdated way of looking at these things, more than anything else. But of course, this brings up new challenges as well as opportunities, Vorian, as well. What would you say in terms of individuals and organizations as well? How do they adapt to this new normal? How can they actually sort of attract the best people who have this maybe slightly different mindset?
Oh, yes, I have this discussion with my mastermind all the time on what does it look like, the new leadership and the big corporations, they have to change. And we talk about this command and control that we come from the first industrialization, when you're at the factory and it's just, you have to do a lot of things, you have to execute all the time. And I think that, and you're held accountable to the bottom line. And I think that will hopefully change,
Yeah.
and that there will be more work than the bottom line, that there is a place of creativity, that it is a place of exploration and fulfillment for people. And
Yeah.
I would really like, now I have the opportunity to build a company, and I would really, that's why I'm thinking about it. How can I build a company that allows people to be creative, but we, while also moving forward and having a prosperous company? And that it remains to be seen on how that can be developed. And we are
Right.
in a shift. We
Yeah.
are in a shift, and people are reluctant to change also because we don't know what's there on the other side. We are in a time of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So I think we have to go a little bit with the flow and see how things develop and try to steer them into something that, but I think it is emerging. We can't really say what's to come. We have to see what is coming and what is coming out of the pandemic and how people have changed. What do they want? And come up with ideas. And I think we need a lot of brainstorming and a lot of thinking around new types of companies, how they
Yeah.
can be structured.
So there's going to be challenges, but also opportunities for the individuals and organizations who get this right, who are able to plan a different approach ahead and be able to do things in a slightly different way, perhaps.
Yes, I think I look at the future with a lot of opportunities, a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
It's the time to do anything you want. There are so many possibilities out there and different ways of doing it. And if we just look up and look around, we will see it. So I think, yeah, there is a lot of excitement ahead, I think.
Excellent. Well, we agree on that point, and given the fact that you're going to be launching in Stockholm, I'd love to sort of try one of the Hänga events as well and be able to report back to you.
Yes, and maybe you can host an event.
Oh,
You never know.
exactly. Let's
What is
think
your
of the
passion?
passions.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've got quite a few actually. I'd be able to share those in an event for a group of sort of 10 to 12. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can hold me to that.
Oh, great. I love that.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And it's been a pleasure speaking to you today, and look forward to hearing
Likewise.
more soon.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me.